Ciao, Bellas. Welcome to Pleasure Principles, sacred G-spot secrets to embodying your magic, money, sex, and business. My name is Sophia Leva Marie with Nurturing Divine Beauty, and I'm so happy today to have one of my favorite human-ish people in the world. She's a channel for interdimensional beings. She was born the daughter of a Pentecostal minister and then branched into spirituality. And she specializes in fun, love-filled, really easy to digest spirituality. She's known as the EFT tapping outlaw and outrageous, fun, orgasmic, spiritual divinity. So welcome.
Thank you. Gee, that almost had me an orgasm hearing about it. That's so good.
Yes. And by the way, her name is Rebecca Moreno. Yes. So Rebecca, thank you so much for being here with me today. And what really came forward in our kind of conversation before was something that's special to my heart, being of the Mary Magdalene order and the Sophia Christ consciousness. But really, what brought forward Mary Magdalene and the energy of sexual creative energy and embodying this that we're playing with today?
Well, she brought it forth.
Mm-hmm.
She has been asking me to channel her, which I have, and I'm writing a book for her. And when I asked, what should I share on this? She just told me, share about my humanness. Mm-hmm. And the key here is that all the divine beings who were human want us to know that they were just like us. We seem to think that these beings were so magic that they didn't have any human desires or any kind of human faults. And the book I'm writing about her is so interesting because she's telling me such personal things. I'm like, Mary, I have not read any of this stuff in any other books about you. You're so holy. You're walking around with a halo all the time. And she said, I have also written a book about Jesus that I haven't let out yet, that it's necessary for people to understand how human they were so that we can feel like we can do it too. We can evolve too. Who could aspire to be what we think of as the Magdalene or the Christ? I mean, it's just plumb boring if you ask me, the way most people conceive. So, and I did bring a book that I saw marked up. One of the things she said to me about her and the Christ, because a lot of chapters in the book are about after they met and things that happened. And she says, we were not so high and mighty that we denied ourselves the greatest divine gift of all, the power of intimacy and sexuality. So later on in this, I will do an activation with you that Mary gave to me about becoming more magnetic and what could be stopping you, because in order to magnetize more money, a beloveds, better sexuality, you need to become magnetic to the thing that you desire. So we're going to enjoy doing that activation in a little bit.
Fantastic. And I really love that Mary wanted you to bring that out, that it's not so pure. You know, oftentimes when people think of like sacred sexuality, they kind of put it on this pedestal, like, oh, it has to be really holy and pure. And that doesn't mean that the energy of it isn't, but it doesn't mean that it's also not in the body. It's not enjoyable. It's not pleasurable. And it's not passionate. It's not like this pristine, kind of only cosmic energy that happens between you and God. Sacredness is in sexuality.
Yes, it is. And there's not one part of the body that's dirty.
Yes.
Which part of your body is not holy?
Right.
So she hasn't given me any specific things they did, but I am asking her questions like, did you and the Christ ever argue? Mm-hmm. People just have this concept. Well, most people don't even believe Jesus got together with anybody. He died a virgin. Woo!
That's such a waste. That's the crime. One of them. Yes.
So anyway, it's just some of the things that she's talked about that you might find interesting. Most people do know that she was trained as a sexual healer in the Temple of Isis. Mm-hmm. However, there's a whole chapter where she talks about how her mother did take her to the temple. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, did she just drop you off? The book is like a conversation. Mm-hmm. Well, what about this? And what about this? We want to know. And something she's talked about her early temple life, it just made me feel so good. Like, that's so human. That's what I would do as a mother. That even though she did go rather young, she was encouraged to go home for holidays. She was encouraged to go home for just to be with their family some, because in the temple, they really wanted you to have a well-rounded offering of life. And that if you did decide to be very dedicated to the temple, that it would be from a place of knowing your family life. It wasn't to separate you from the family. Mm. And one of the things she talked about, I asked her about her training, and she said, nobody went straight for the sexual healing priestess. Mm. That the high priestesses were ever mindful, and I love this, they wanted you to specialize wherever your natural talents were. Mm. So you had training in each of the things, but not sexual healing. Mm. That was something that she's telling me you were kind of ordained to it after you had experience some of the other trainings. Of course, there's basic trainings like meditations and activating your energy body, but training in midwifery, mm-hmm. and the healing oils and hands-on healing. And they were looking for specific, she's also telling me, a prophetic ministry as well. They were... what's the word, like when you have the gift of prophecy and you're a woman, there's...
Like an oracle?
Yes! You're so smart. Thank you.
Jeopardy. No.
And they were watching you, not watching you critically, but watching your natural talents develop as you took these trainings. And I asked her, well, what was your favorite training? And she said, I love being a midwife because I love bringing new life. And she used her power for healing and she's showing me, she could kind of massage. Oh, that looks weird.
Well, massage. Think of what we're talking about. Not really.
The inside of the woman's yoni, mm-hmm. and apply healing oils along with her prayers, and it would make the women have a much easier birth. Mm-hmm. And so when the high priestesses watched her, then they called her in and asked her if she would take training in the sexual healing arts, because if you displayed certain things in the others, then you could be qualified. because it was really necessary for you to have that compassionate heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the gift of touch. You know, not everyone has a gift of touch.
True.
It would not be a very good sexual healing anything if you had a heavy hand.
Right.
Come here, let me heal you.
Yes.
Anyway, it's very interesting talking with her. And can I just say to everyone watching, if you want to talk to her, you can talk to her. If you sit down and be quiet and ask for guidance, you'll start getting it. Now, at first, it might come in little tiny spoonfuls. Everyone is capable of being a channel.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And get yourself out of the way. Oh, I'm going to get it wrong. Yeah. Okay.
So I love what you brought out about kind of the different facets of the training in the temple. And these are actually things that we can have access to today, whether it's, asking to receive these gifts or amplifying them, or just kind of working with the energies we may have received from past lives. So how can we actually start to use these energies in our own life? Because this is about how to make it practical. Like, how do you actually bring this energy into your daily life? So how can people actually use this in the different ways in their life?
Well, if you're talking about midwifery, that's a big topic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about using healing oils, start messing with oils. And as you do, you'll find that your muscle memory can just start to take over, that you just kind of know things if you've had that in a past life.
Yeah.
And just desiring to do a thing. And then, to me, taking a little bit of time to just be still and receive information and follow your intuition. If you feel like studying oils, study them. And it just opens the door, because I believe that Spirit does want to know, they go to all this trouble to give you these gifts. Are you just going to lay on your back and say, thank you for the gift, and never do anything? So how do you want to apply it? And what is the joy of your heart? What's the calling of your heart? And as you just tune into that and you honor it, and you're going to see a lot of this is going to get answered in the activation. You can start doing practical things. Mm-hmm. For instance, in sexuality, it takes stopping with my lover. Not every time, but lots of times I'll just say, let's just breathe together. Let's be together. Let's align our chakras. Mm-hmm. And boy, he starts having Kundalini shocks, and oh, it's fun. So sometimes you have to do something. You ask for the guidance. Also, Mary is telling me right now to remind you that information is held in stone and bone. So there's a lot of information in healing crystals in any rock. But within your own being, without having to go out in the yard and look for rocks or anything, your bone marrow has information that's stored from many, many lifetimes and generations. And as you set the intention to heat up your bone marrow, which we will, you can call for certain information to come forth. The information is always there, Sophia. It's the hesitancy sometimes that we have to use it because we're so afraid that we're not going to use it right. We have old voices in our head. Information is always there. The motivation, actually, if you ask for divine inspiration, when it's time for you to do something with the information, the motivation and the energy will be there.
Yeah.
So you can even ask, well, how can I use this in a practical way? And there is a rule that I have with all these beings of light who are lined up around the block for me to channel them. Is it going to be something useful?
Right.
Just like I asked Mary, well, why do you want me to write this book? What are people going to get out of it?
Right.
And she said they will understand that they can do it too, that I was just human. And especially Jesus was just human. He was not born magic. That's another topic. I hope that explains it a little bit.
It does. It does. And you've definitely whetted our appetite for what's going to happen in the activation. So why don't we just go ahead and do that and see what opens up from there?
I think that's fabulous. And just to let you know, I will read it because I was given it specifically in a certain order. And like she said, don't do the work again. You already did it.
That's very practical. So for those listening, do they actually need anything for this activation?
I like to have a glass of water.
Okay. All right.
As a matter of fact, you have yours.
I do.
And this is a little tip of how to make your own holy water. Any glass of water. I like it always in a glass. And you just whisper, you can whisper, Holy Spirit, Sophia. Ooh, when you whisper, oh, goosebumps. And for today, I've already whispered, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, because water holds memories.
Okay. So Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene.
And take a sip. It changes the taste of the water. If you tasted it before, it becomes softer. So
it slides more, kind of like
it
slides
does.
down the
and it becomes more and more. And you don't have to be holy, for Pete's sake, or anything special to bless the water. And if you think about it, now we're going to go into the activation. Water holds memories. This water right here has molecules or atoms or quarks or something of every divine being who's ever lived, because water is constantly recycled. So we're just activating Mary Magdalene or whoever.
And that makes me think, you know, our bodies are made up of mostly water. So to activate that energy within ourselves and bring that sacredness and that beauty to our own interactions might be a lovely way to start communion with the universe and your partner and business and whatever you're wanting to lend energy to.
Yes, it is. It's wonderful. I've been blessing all my water since I got the idea. And, you know, make your own holy water. Make it easy. 2-second video. To me, it's especially powerful when I whisper the name Sophia, because Sophia, the creatrix.
Yes.
So for this meditation, it's good if you could just close your eyes and move into a state of relaxation, listening to the sound of my voice. I'm going to guide you in relaxing your legs and your hips and your spine and the muscles in your back, your neck, your head. Just know that you are surrounded by so much love, and the whole order of Magdalena is there with you now, wherever you are. And as you listen to this activation that was given to me like a story, just allow your mind and your imagination to experience every sense. And so Mary is calling in all her sister priestesses, the entire order of Magdalene. And they're so excited about being with us. The air is filled with the electricity of joy, love, hope. The joy that they feel is contagious. And I find myself with a wide grin on my face. I listen to the excited whispers as the priestesses whisper to Mary, because they want to be sure that you have all the information that you need. Now the excitement settles down a little bit. And I turn to Mary as she quietly begins. She takes me by the hand. Instantly, we're walking in a lush, fragrant rose garden. The colors of velvety roses are almost beyond description. Mary speaks. These roses are here because someone yearned for them. And from the magnetism of their heart, they yearned simply because they had a desire for roses. They did not have to justify to themselves, to the man, or to deity why they had the yearning. They simply desired to have roses, to see a rose garden from the magnetism of their heart, and so it was. The problem with most people trying to become more magnetic, why? They want to magnetize things to themselves. They feel guilty or unworthy for having their heart's desires. They do not realize the divine right they have to create every heart's desire. Your heart's desires, beloved, do not need to be justified to anyone, and especially not to yourself. And now Mary suggests to me, help people to release the feelings that their heart's desires must be justified. I want to have more of this because so I can give more to the poor, or some kind of justification. Your heart's desires are important simply because they are part of you, and actually a very large part of your soul purpose is hidden within your heart's desires. Release the need for justification. Next, all the priestesses escorted Mary and I to a pleasant waterfall. It was falling gently from about 20 feet up. The water cascaded over ancient stones, holding the wisdom of the ages. Several of the priestesses went into the pool of water. They were singing and beckoning to me, and they were singing, "Worthy, worthy, worthy. Come on into the water, for thou art worthy." And there is no need to justify why you may enjoy yourself and the pleasures of life. Every sound of worthy, worthy, worthy was amplified by the fragrant water. The wisdom of the stones was calling out to me, and I began to cry. Soft tears of relief and gratitude. Mary now leads us underneath the fountain of the waterfall. The tremendous power of the water cleanses my auric field. It penetrates my skin and sinks down to my very bone marrow. Information is stored in stone and bone. My very bone marrow begins to sing, heat up, and cry out, worthy. Oh, you are so worthy. You are so worthy. Yes, yes, you are. Mary now whispers, and I hear her clearly over the roar of the waterfall. You are now baptized anew to fulfill your highest destiny as agreed upon by you and your oversoul and your multidimensional selves. She pulls me out from the force of the waterfall and leads me gently towards the shore. Mary simply holds me for a while as I feel the need to release more tears. I cry upon her shoulder. Tears of all the pain and shame and humiliation that I experienced around my sexuality, around my womanhood, flow freely. Emotions that have been pent up over the years of unnecessary sacrifice. I noticed that one of the priestesses was collecting them in a golden chalice. As my tears finally ceased, with only a little hiccup now and then, Mary held me by the shoulders and looked deeply into my eyes as she asked me, are you ready to absolve yourself of years, of lifetimes, of eternities, of unnecessary sacrifices? Yes, I'm so ready. Are you ready to begin magnetizing more of your heart's desires with no need to justify why you have those desires? And I answered, yes. Oh, yes. Are you ready to release all judgments of others as they become free to magnetize their heart's desires? Yes. And are you willing to forgive yourself freely for any time you forget that you have now abolished your need for justification? Yes. Mary continues, then drink to your absolute absolving of all unnecessary sacrifices and feelings of unworthiness. She offers me the golden chalice. I take it, and I see that it is my own tears collected by the priestess. Yet as I look into the contents of the goblet, I notice that it's now red and thick, and it appears to be blood. I hesitate, and my eyes, filled with questions, turn to Mary. And she says, yes, child, this is your blood of sacrifices. Every sacrifice you have ever made is held within the blood contained in this chalice. I hold the chalice to my heart as more tears fall, mixing with the blood within the cup. A kaleidoscope of memories, some ancient, some fresh, seem to rise up from me, almost screaming, release me, resolve me. Be the savior of yourself that you came forth into this lifetime to be. Tears still streaming, I hold the chalice to my lips, prepared to drink. Wait, Mary says. I show you now a miracle. Follow my instructions. You needed to be willing to drink the blood of your own sacrifice. Now hold that same chalice to your lips and whisper, worthy, worthy, into the blood. And so I do. I hold the cup to my lips and I whisper, worthy, worthy, worthy. We are joined by even more of the angelic realms as the priestesses circle around singing, worthy, 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 worthy. With each resonant sound, the liquid in the chalice becomes more clear. It is when it becomes a golden healing elixir that Mary commands, now drink. I gulp down the liquid, craving even more of its indescribable sweetness. It's like drinking a medicinal dose of joy, of healing, of tenderness, of love, of honor, delight, and peace all at once. I feel the elixir filling my being. Even my breath becomes sweet, as I can almost see the droplets of ecstatic moisture on my every out-breath. I feel as light as a feather. I begin to see visions of all those things that my heart has been yearning for, coming into fully manifested physical form. Finally, the excitement subsides a little bit as I am filled with a greater and greater sense of peace. I find myself still whispering the words in awe, worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, it feels so good to say that and know at last that it is true. Mary now prepares me for a final blessing and an instruction. To remind the cellular structure of your body, please do these three things, two things. Into every glass of water, wine, or any liquid, hold it to your lips and whisper, worthy, 3 times. It is also beneficial to whisper other divine words, yet worthy is the cornerstone of creative magnetism. And another thing to do, beloved, is indulge yourself in fantasies of your heart's desires. See it, feel it, make the sounds of it, move in it, love in it. You may also whisper the fantasies of your heart's desires into any glass of liquid that you consume. And then finally, be playful in your magnetism. Play games like you already have everything that you desire. Draw pictures for yourself like you already have it. See what an even greater light you are to others because you have it. Mary once again shows me the chalice that held my tears of blood. There is one droplet left, and it has returned to the appearance of blood. She lifts the chalice to her own lips and drinks. We are now united forever in the absolution of your lifetimes of unnecessary sacrifice. Call upon me in my order of the Magdalene anytime you desire our assistance. It is our great joy to be a mentor and friend to you. All the priestesses gather round in a final blessing, and from the renewed magnetism of my human heart, I joyfully bless them in return. I call for my Akashic records to be changed to reflect the miracle that has occurred here today. Anchor, lock, and seal this healing on every level through space and time. Namaste, namaste, namaste. And so it is. When you feel ready, open your eyes.
I don't want to.
I forgot to bring Kleenex.
It was really lovely. There's such peace in my body and I don't know, like a sense of softness and grace. So thank you for leading us through that. And my brain's completely blank, which is maybe not great for an interview. So I think instead of actually asking more questions, I'm just going to leave it there and just have people bask in that energy. I know you have a free gift for our listeners that will actually take them a little deeper into this space with Mary Magdalene, and then they can also listen to this again to bring themselves deeper into this.
Yeah, I think staying here is a good idea and basking in the essence of it. Why don't you just put what the gifts are in a link below? They're wonderful. What can I say?
Okay, perfect. And then I will ask one final question after everyone puts in their name and email. But what would Mary say is maybe her greatest secret or sacred code to really have people embody this sacred, creative, sexual energy that's the life force to fuel their entire life?
She would say, honor your heart's desires. Mm-hmm. Even in the area of sexuality, for instance, not to judge yourself if you like kinky sex or whatever thing that you like, that you will attract the person that will give that to you, and you will make whatever you're doing sacred. And so honor your heart's desire, no matter what it is. Magnetizing, being sexual, releasing shame.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just releasing shame around everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel some, well, yeah, I feel some, so what? I honor my heart's desire. Your heart's desires are pure.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Rebecca. And thank you for channeling Mary for us and bringing that activation forward. Such a beautiful energy. And for our listeners, I might ask if you might actually give yourself the gift of actually remaining in this space for a bit instead of, getting off and checking your phone or your next thing on your to-do list. Maybe actually giving yourself that gift and just being in this energy. And when you're ready for the gift, put your name and email below. And from Rebecca and I, we really want to thank you for joining us on this journey of pleasure principles, sacred G-spot secrets to embodying your magic, money, sex, and business. Ciao for now.